Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Nathan and this is Sous Shrimp Readers. I'm going to be going over a few different things in this video. One of them is just some general maintenance on this tank. I have some decaying plants that I have to take out, and one of them keeps coming uprooted, and I'm going to be replanting that in this video. And while I do that, I am going to go over what parameters this tank is, how often I do my water changes, and how often I feed. I feel like out of all the tanks in my shrimp room, this is the one that I have the most balance on. These shrimp just breed like crazy no matter what I do to this tank. I have introduced a new plant into this tank, and the plant is called Monte Carlo. I really like this. I had it in another tank. It was doing okay in that tank, but I want to see what it looks like in this tank because it is a really nice carpeting plant. Because the roots of this plant are so small and the plant itself is very small, it's very hard to get into the soil, and you will see me struggle trying to get this plant planted. And as always, my shrimp are very curious every time I move my soil or a plant around. They kind of follow me around like they're just waiting for me to give them something delicious. As far as water changes go on this tank, I have done one about every 2 to 3 months. Since it's a 75-gallon tank, I guess I don't feel like it needs to have that many water changes. I feel like it saves my soil from having to buffer too much. And not only that, but there's a ton of babies in this tank, so I really don't think that I have to do more water changes. The pH of this tank sits around a 6.4. The substrate that I'm using is called ADA Amazonia. I've been using this in pretty much all of my Caridina tanks. It has been my go-to soil for years. The last time that I checked my KH or carbonated hardness, it was sitting at about a 1. And the last time I checked my GH, which is general hardness, was sitting at about a 5. I normally don't check these things, but when I do check them, they're pretty much always the same. And that is why I really like this soil, is just because it's consistency to keep my parameters stable. The temperatures of my tanks all sit at about 68 degrees. I heat my whole shrimp room to that temperature, and so far, no matter what shrimp I breed, whether it be Neo-Caridina or Caridina, they all seem to like this low temperature. As far as what plants you want to use in your shrimp tank, you can use pretty much whatever you want as long as they're shrimp safe. Just be sure to know what kind of plant you're getting, if it's a high light or a low light, because some of them do kind of require some special needs, and they can cause huge ammonia spikes if they all die off at once. I'm going to be feeding them some of my homemade shrimp food again. This one happens to be my nettle blend. This one has a really hard time sinking, so I don't show it in my videos very much. This one I have to squeeze with my fingers to get all the air out of it, just so it'll sink. I usually feed my shrimp 4 to 5 times a week. I do take a couple of days off just because I really want to see them get all the algae off of all the plants and all the edges of the tank, because if I overfeed, they kind of sit in one spot wherever I feed, and they don't want to linger anywhere else, and that can sometimes also cause algae problems. Every one of my shrimp tanks I also use Indian almond leaves. These leaves are very important when it comes to the natural antibacterial properties that they have. I wasn't really for sure exactly how important those Indian almond leaves were until I had a couple of tanks run out of Indian almond leaves and I didn't have any to put more back in there. Well, I noticed there was a giant drop in breeding. I tried to replace them with some mulberry leaves, but no matter what I did, Indian almond leaves just seemed to be the perfect leaf for shrimp tanks. So I think that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, and if you're not subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I really hope that everyone has a wonderful day, and cheers.